On this episode of the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by Riverwind Casino, we give you the latest OU updates, including a recap of OU Pro Day. We talk about the spring game date and Baker Mayfield statue dedication being set. And we finish up with our winners and losers of the week. Please download and subscribe to the podcast, rate it 5 stars, and write us a good review. Follow the show on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Just search Oklahoma Breakdown on any of those, and you'll find us. All right. Our man, Michael Hosty, will kick this thing off. It's time for the Oklahoma Breakdown. It's a beautiful Wednesday, March 9th, and you're listening to the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by Riverwind Casino. Riverwind is Oklahoma City's premier casino experience, and your health and safety are Riverwind's #1 priorities. There are so many reasons why Riverwind is consistently voted OKC's #1 casino, but it all starts with their amazing variety of gaming thrills and excitement. Riverwind's beautiful award-winning environment plays host to more than 2,800 of the latest electronic games with a huge selection of table games, including blackjack, blackjack match, roulette, and Teddy's favorite, craps. No matter what your game, Riverwind has it in spades and hearts. And Fridays in March from 6 p.m. to midnight, you can win your share of $80,000 in cash and bonus play and Riverwind's $80,000 courtside cash giveaway. Drawings are every 30 minutes, and grand prize winners will be selected at 11:59. If you need help finding your way, just visit riverwind.com. Riverwind Casino, simply the best. Now, we're recording this at about 1:30 on Wednesday afternoon. Please leave us a 5-star review and a nice comment while you're at it. If you want to sponsor the podcast, you can email the Oklahoma Breakdown at gmail.com, and we will get you all of those details. We're both playing a road game, Ted.
We've been all over the place, location wise and time wise, but we're making it work.
We are making it work, and we figured this was the best way to do it. We just did 3 hours, 3.5 hours of OU Pro Day coverage, and we were like, let's just do the podcast right after it while it's fresh in our mind. And I still feel good about this decision.
I do too. I think it's the best way to do it.
Now, all right, let's start on the offensive side of the ball. And a guy we really haven't talked a ton about and didn't talk that much about when it came to his combine performance was Kennedy Brooks. And goes to Indianapolis, runs 4.59 at the combine, had some improvement on the vert today in Pro Day. I believe he jumped 31 inches at the combine, jumped 35.5 inches here at OU's Pro Day, did 14 reps on the bench press. I thought it was, all in all, it was a nice day for Kennedy Brooks.
Yep. I think his athleticism is he's fast. Doesn't look fast, and that's, well represented. We've talked about that for years with him, but he's moving. He covers ground. That 4.5 number, it's hard to run 4.5 at the combine, man. Like that, when you log a 4.5 at the combine, that is legit. So that's a good number, and he's just incredibly productive. Could have been the all-time leading rusher at Oklahoma had he come back another year. I think he's a guy that translates to the next level well. He's got great vision. He's got good patience. One cut is really, really good. And then he goes north and south. I thought he finished runs better this year than he had in the past. It's all about, can he find the right fit? Does a coaching staff out there like what they see from him? And can he get some carries in the preseason? Because I don't know what type of practice player he is. And I don't know how well some of the things that you see from him translate in practice, right? Because his runs don't look overly impressive, but whenever you get out there in a game, he just moves the chains. So I think all of those things are positive. And I think another thing that is really good in his favor is does not get hurt. He is an incredibly durable player, and that factors in big time at running back.
Yeah, and just looking at his drills, how he looked in the Pro Day drills, smooth, efficient, had some nice moments catching the football. I think that is something that teams are going to wonder, right? Didn't do a ton of that in Lincoln Riley's offense. Didn't have a ton of those opportunities, right? Catching the ball out of the backfield. I do think his ability to pass protect is a question mark. But when you just talk about what he's put on tape and what he did at the combine and what he did here at OU's Pro Day, I think he improved his stock, right? You kind of just boil it down to a simple, okay, did he improve it or did he hurt it? And in no way do I think that Kennedy Brooks has hurt his stock. Like everyone knows about the contact balance and just how tough of a runner he is, the patience, all that stuff. And that shows up when these teams are evaluating film. But I think from an overall athleticism perspective, right, the 4.59 40, the 10-foot broad jump, improving the vert to 35.5 here at Pro Day, 14 reps on the bench. I think that anything over 10 for a running back, like I really don't know how much they care about that. But it seems like, if anything, maybe he's more athletic than he looks on film.
Which is like exactly kind of what we've talked about, right? It's like it's kind of an anomaly. He is. And I think another thing that's kind of lost in here, and I just thought about it right now, one fumble, isn't that right? For his entire career?
And I think one fumble, and I'm not going to put our man Brooks's business out there, but let's just say not massive hands. Not massive hands. Like now that I think about how I just said that out loud, that sounded really weird. That's it. I meant like he had a really small hand measurement at the combine. Well, it wasn't even 8 inches, like, which is, I mean, it's a shockingly small hand for a guy his size, but maybe the small hands are the key to grip strength. Those are some small, strong hands.
Yeah, I don't know. But whenever you factor all that in, ball security, durability, production, and then it all checks out whenever you look at the numbers athletically. I mean, I think everything's looking positive for Kennedy Brooks right now.
Yeah. All right, next guy. Let's talk some Mike Woods. And he went to the combine, ran 4.55 in the 40, which is a good time at over 200 pounds. And this may sound dumb, but just watching him at Pro Day, he had the 35.5-inch vert, which is an improvement on what he did at the combine. But the guy just looks like a pro. He moves like a pro. He just has the physical stature that you're looking for in an NFL wide receiver. And I got no idea where he's going to get drafted, but the way that he carries himself, the movements, like everything, it looks like a professional wide receiver. I don't know how else to say it other than that.
And frankly, he looks like an elite wide receiver. And this kind of just speaking to what you're talking about, he looks long, he looks athletic, he looks comfortable in his routes, but fast and efficient, and his cuts are sharp, but it doesn't look like he's straining incredibly hard to run them. I can't help but to come away thinking, how in the hell is this guy not like a 1,200-yard receiver for us last year? And I know he went through some injury issues, but man, he looks really good right now.
Yeah, he's one of those guys, you see him going through the combine and through Pro Day, and you're like, wait, what? How did this? And remember, he was productive at Arkansas, right? We were so excited when it got announced that he was transferring. But yeah, it's led to me looking at some of those situations, be like, how the hell did they not get a guy like that to football more? It just doesn't make sense, man.
No, but I've been pleasantly surprised with how he's looked over the last several weeks. Like today, he stuck out. He really stuck out. Now it was kind of a smaller group, and there wasn't a whole lot of NFL representation there. Like we're used to having, the number one overall quarterback, Heisman Trophy winner there, or a guy like Jalen Hurts, where you've just got tons of NFL personnel there. It was a little quieter day but I mean, just walking around, he's the guy that stuck out to me, that the guy that looks like he really belongs at the next level.
Yeah, I guarantee you a lot of teams are going to target him and trying to, I don't know when on day 3, because that's probably what he is, right? A day 3 guy. But there are going to be a lot of teams that think they're super smart. Like, hey, we're going to get Mike Woods in the 5th. Watch us. And then he's going to end up going like late 3rd or something like,
Yeah.
or early 4th. It'll be interesting to see what happens with him when it comes to the draft. Jeremiah Hall, huge day for him. I mean, and I talked to Jeremiah about it. He was not overly pleased with how he tested at the combine, right? I think that everything that goes into going to the combine, all of the interviews, all of the psychological testing, all of that stuff that we've talked about, I think that it was a really demanding couple of days on Jeremiah Hall, and he thinks that affected his performance physically. So for him to come out and run a 4.79 40 and to increase his vertical to a 33-inch vert and to go through all those running back drills and look really smooth and efficient and to be able to run routes and do all these things, I thought Pro Day was a much better representation of the type of football player and kind of overall athlete that he is.
Yeah, no, I agree. I thought he showed really well, was smooth and efficient. I think the kind of the pressure being off after running that 4.8. What was the first one? 4.83 or something like that.
Yeah, well, remember he did that, but his official, remember they adjusted like his official time at the combine was 4.96.
Yeah, well, I'm saying today, like his
Oh,
first
yeah,
40 today
4.8.
is
He ran, yeah, I
4.8
think it was
something.
4.83 and then 4.79.
I think when he ran that 4.83 and got way under that 4.9, bad looking number, I think the pressure came off. And the second time he blazed that 4.7, it looked really good. And he's a guy that it's really about checking the boxes, like the film, and like whenever you call his coach and ask about him, and you just look at all the different positions and special teams and all the different ways that he can factor into a football team. That's going to be the thing that really sets him apart. And his route running, I working some of those releases and stuff out there today looked really good.
And maybe the most impressive thing, right? We've talked a lot about confidence since we've been doing this podcast and how important it is when it comes to playing football at a high level. This is what I'll say. Jeremiah Hall, spandex all day. Never put shorts on. It's a confident guy, Ted. That it takes a certain amount of confidence and comfortability with yourself to rock the spandex only for the entirety of Pro Day. Don't see that all the time.
Yeah, and lighter colored spandex too,
Yes.
not the black. Okay.
A lighter gray. I mean, we're talking bold decisions from our man
Oh,
Jeremiah.
really bold decisions, which, hey, it tells me, and it should tell any high level scout, that this guy's focused right now. Everything else other than the performance, totally eliminated from the mindset.
Yeah, and a lot of belief in himself. It's
Right.
important. It's important.
Right.
Everything matters. Everything matters. All right, the 2 offensive linemen, Marquise Hayes, Tyrese Robinson. Tyrese Robinson improves the 40, right? Ran a 5.13 at OU's Pro Day. Man, I thought he looked good moving around in the drills. I thought that he looked efficient with his footwork. He's clearly a guy that's going to play inside in the NFL. It'll help him having all of that tackle film, because if you're an interior swing guy, like if you have the ability to play some tackle, if the team really gets in a pinch, that adds value. And I just thought that overall, Tyrese and Marquise Hayes, they looked good in the drills. They did quite a bit of the testing stuff. Those numbers aren't going to blow you away from either of those guys. It still all comes down to what they've put on film. But as far as going through the drills, I thought they looked efficient with their movement. Still some of the drills that they put offensive linemen through where they're like their kick setting, and then their post setting, and then they want them to turn and run backwards as fast as they can. You're like, what are they doing? But overall, they went through some drills in pro day that Bill Bedenbaugh has them do every single day, like 2-bag punch drill, like these things that they're doing. They've done that stuff, and that's why they look so good doing it, is because they've been training for this stuff for years. And all offensive linemen at the college level are doing some variation of that drill. But I thought overall that Tyrese looked really good with how fluid and efficient he was with his movements. And we've talked about Marquise, like someone's going to fall in love with the attitude. The pro day setting, he can't just come out and bully the guy holding the bag. Like, it's just the combine and pro day setting, like it's really not a reflection of what Marquise is as a player, because his attitude, that like mean streak, is such a big part of who he is as a player.
Yep. And that stuff sticks out on film. Like,
for sure.
You can see the way he plays on film, road grader. And, we've talked about this. That also is something that you see routinely with offensive linemen coming out of Oklahoma, and NFL scouting departments, they know that, they get used to that. And whenever you say this guy's a Bill Bedenbaugh guy or an Oklahoma offensive lineman, there's some things that are built into that. And, whenever you're coached by Bill Bedenbaugh, the scouting departments in the NFL, like, that is cooked in. There's been so many guys come out that have been coached by Bill, toughness, physicality, aggressiveness, and really technical, coached really well. That stuff, that means something to those scouts. And you start to, not that you're getting drafted off of what other players have done previously, but it does factor in that, hey, there's a high hit rate with Bill Bedenbaugh coach guys.
Absolutely. So it's going to be really interesting to see where those guys end up going in the draft. I think they'll both get drafted, or at least I would anticipate both of them. Certainly Marquise is going to get drafted. We'll see what happens with Tyrese, but I think that NFL teams knowing that they were well coached in college, like, that helps a lot. It really does. And not only the physical, like the technique aspect, like the mental part of the game. Like, Bill is one of the best, if not the best, at teaching his linemen the mental part of football and actually teaching them why they're doing things, how to do it, what the defense is trying to do. Like, he's fantastic at that.
And, I know Tyrese is going to play guard at the next level, but the fact that he played tackle and did so really effectively, and to show that you've got some position flexibility in case something goes down, because you're limited numbers wise in the NFL. So if you've got a guy that has shown that he can kick out and play tackle, number one, position flexibility if something should come up. But number two, it really shows you that, like, you get exposed at tackle if you're not really good, technically, being able to go through all the techniques, stay in front of a guy. I think that the fact that he did that, played quite a bit of tackle, probably helps him a decent amount.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, let's talk about the defensive guys at Pro Day. But first, the only place to stop when you're road tripping is Love's Travel Stops. Love's has over 560 locations in 41 states, offering 24-hour access to clean and safe places. Whatever your road trip needs are, Love's has it. Fuel, fresh food, all the snacks and drinks, including, yes, my favorite, Java Amore. That coffee is fantastic. Love's also has you covered if you forget your phone charger or headphones. They've expanded their mobile to-go zone so you can grab any of that stuff there. Make sure you download the Love's Connect app for exclusive offers from today's most popular brands. The Love's Connect app also includes a route planner and store locator. When you see the red neon heart on the highway, stop in and say hi at Love's Travel Stops. For a full list of what Love's has to offer, visit loves.com.
Opolis Clothing is the exclusive home for all of your Oklahoma Breakdown merchandise. If you want to live your life in buttery, soft comfort, Go to opolisclothing.com. That's OPOLIS clothing.com. Use our promo code TED, TED, for 10% off your entire order. You still get a discount on all of the OU and OKC Thunder gear as well. That's opolisclothing.com and use the promo code TED, TED, for 10% off. And oh my God, what is that, Gabe? Is that fancy corn?
It is a blue corn, fancy corn hat. Cartoon blue fancy corn designed by our friends at Opolis. It is now available at opolisclothing.com. Use promo
Our
code
prayers have been answered. We've got fancy corn merch. Unbelievable. Remember, promo code TED, TED, for 10% off, buttery soft, and 10% off.
All right, defensive guys at OU Pro Day. Perion Winfrey didn't do anything. And there's really nothing to say other than he tweaked his hammy at the NFL Combine. And the NFL Combine was only a couple days ago. So that's where, this quick turnaround for OU's Pro Day, it didn't allow Perion to have nearly enough time to recover from that tweak and to get out there and go through drills or anything, but was able to run the 4.89 at the Combine. And with what he did at the Senior Bowl, man, you talk about a guy that has had a massive pre-draft process. I mean, he has helped himself as much as any prospect in this draft. But it is a bummer because I would have loved to see him go through drills, because I just know, the defensive linemen, they go through all the drills where guys are holding the pad. I know he would have tried to knock the guy over, and that would have been so much fun for you and I to watch.
Oh man, yeah, I know. The fact that Pro Day was so close to the Combine, I don't even know if it's a negative for Perion. I think that he has built up enough credibility right now with Senior Bowl, with going out there and blowing out a 4.8, the way he's kind of carrying himself right now, the confidence that he has. I'm sure the interviews went great. I don't think anything could have happened out there that necessarily would have helped him more. I agree, it would have been awesome to see him do some of those drills. Just like the personality he brings right now is a lot of fun. But I think the hay is in the barn for him. And honestly, just kind of broadly for all of the guys, it's nice to have a quick turnaround to where you don't have another 2 weeks to sit there and think about it nonstop, right? And have that anxiety to be able to get it over with pretty quickly. I think was probably welcomed by a lot of those guys.
Yeah, it would have been fun to watch, though. Man, it would have been, there would have been the craziest look.
I think there would have been a lot more NFL representation there if he was going to be working out.
Yeah, I'm sure they notified all the teams that he wasn't going to go. Guy that did work out, Nick Bonito. Now, it didn't run the 40 again, and he definitely shouldn't, right? 4.54 at the NFL Combine. Sat on a lot of those testing numbers, but he did bench when I don't think he did it at the Combine, or at least I don't remember him doing it, but ended up getting 22 reps. That's good enough, right? Like, now you want guys throwing up 30, like, sure, but 20 for guys that play at the line of scrimmage, usually 20. If you can hit over 20, then it's not necessarily a red flag. So for Bonito, and he went with the close grip. He went Teddy Lehman style, went real close with the grip on the bench, hit 22. I thought that was good enough for him, but yeah, man, he looked smooth in some of the drills.
Smooth, efficient. Like he's got more of a smooth style to what he does than like some guys just look explosive and aggressive, and another guy looks like smooth and controlled. And then you go compare like the times and the numbers, and it's like, how do these look the same? One of these guys is, looks way more explosive and on the edge of out of control. He's just got that smooth nature to him. I think all of his numbers are, I think they're right in line, like 4.5 40 at close to 250 pounds. He looks good right now physically. that's a good number for him. Shuttle, broad jump, vert. Like there's no numbers that have you questioning anything. And they're probably, for guys of his size in that category, they're probably upper third for most of those guys, right? And most of those numbers is probably where he's at. The bench maybe not so much, but I thought he looked good in the drills. He was able to show, like, one of the best things that he has is that hip bend and the ability to dip and get under those offensive linemen. And he looked pretty good in some of the drills doing that. So I thought it was a good showing. So far, the combine and pro day have gone good for Nick Benito. My question is whenever they get into the film review, I think there's going to be some questions about the motor, right?
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that, like, typically you think of an edge rusher as a relentless motor guy that's always on, always, just at all costs trying to get to the football. I think there may be some question marks there.
Yeah, he's got the ability to bend, and you saw that on pro day with him going through those bag drills. I mean, he's barely off the ground, getting around a couple of those bags. I thought it was clear to me when they were going through the drills, like they wanted to see what kind of pop he had just hitting a bag, like at the line of scrimmage, like in it from a stand up position. And right, he had some good moments this season playing the run, but he also had some where you're like, dang, that tackle's kind of getting after him. So that's definitely a question mark as well. But he's added size for sure, looks stronger for sure. But yeah, it's gonna be an interesting evaluation for teams. He's complicated, man. He's a complicated prospect.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. And he did some inside backer drills, which that tells you that there's some, not hesitation, but where exactly does he fit in an NFL defense? Are we sure that he's an edge guy, or is he big enough and long enough and physical enough at the point of attack against a tackle or a big blocking tight end, or is he going to be more of an inside backer type? So it's all things to watch there with Nick.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Isaiah Thomas took part in pro day as well. He sat on all of his numbers when it comes to the broad jump, the vert, and the 40 from the combine. Remember that 4.70 at the combine for IT was a really good number. He did bench at pro day, got 23 reps. He's just a football player, man. I mean, you see the numbers, the 4.70 and the 40 at 266 pounds is probably the most impressive number that he put up in this process. But I keep going back to this. Like, is he going to wow you with his fluidity in the bag drills and all that stuff? Like, no. But when you turn the tape on, 95 shows up over and over and over again. And you talked about the motor being a question mark for Benito. That ain't a question mark for Isaiah Thomas. This guy plays like his hair is on fire, and he's been consistent and productive. And some teams will look past maybe him not having the ideal measurables, and they'll say, hey, we love that guy because he's got versatility along the defensive line. He can play inside, he can play outside, and he plays his ass off. And that means a lot. A lot of teams are going to like that.
Yeah, and you typically, for defensive linemen, don't think about special teams, but he's a guy that's fast enough to be a kickoff coverage guy. He's fluid enough of an athlete to be a punt protection guy. There's all kinds of different places you could put him, and depending on the scheme, hand down traditional 4-3 defensive end. I think his frame, because he's a tall guy, he's got long arms. 266 he weighed?
Yeah.
He can carry 280 pounds easy and be a 3-4 defensive end. So there's a lot of possibilities with him. Key for him, get to camp. Once he gets to camp, I'm not too worried about him showing that he's a really good football player.
No, I'm with you. Okay, a guy that you and I both agreed, man, he probably looked the best of anyone during pro day. That's Brian Asamoah. I mean, only thing he did, he sat on all of his numbers from the combine. Remember that 4.56 40, that 36.5-inch vert, uh, broad jump 10.4, which is a big time broad jump. Benched today, hit 23 reps, kind of checks the box. But man, you talk about a guy that looked good in the drills. Holy smokes. Like his bounce, his twitch, his suddenness, whatever you want to call it, man. I mean, he's absolutely got it.
Yep. He looked fantastic. Physique wise, he looks shredded, but like bulked up in the right areas, has a really good looking build to him. Um, Here's the one thing. I wish he would have ran a 40 because 4.56 at the combine is really fast. Less pressure, a track you're familiar with. And, we talked to him in that interview, and in some training stuff, he had touched some 4.4, right? You go out there and you get 4.49, 4.48 on a couple of watches. Like that is a game changer, right? And I know it's just a couple of hundredths, right? But that's a game changer. So, but still, like that 4.56 number at the combine is totally legit. And you're right, man. He's so explosive, but like once or twice in my life, I felt really fresh, really energized, felt really good, and like you're bouncing and you feel good. Like he looks like that nonstop, right?
Yeah.
He looks like he weighs 125 pounds and is like floating on air, is how light he looks in his body. And man, he's just so under control, and the way he redirects and changes direction. I thought today was as impressive as I've ever seen him look. And he didn't even do that much.
Right.
Right?
Right.
He did a couple of movement drills, and I was over there like, oh my God, he looks good.
The one of them that he did, like he's simulating dropping in zone coverage and then kind of a deep cross coming into his zone and then turning and running with it. He looked like a damn safety doing
like
it, just
0 to full speed in 2 steps, right?
that's one where I was like, man, I mean, he looks the part, and it's going to be really interesting to see where he goes in the draft. Remember, he had that good Senior Bowl where he was voted linebacker of the week by his teammates. But yeah, he looked good at pro day. Okay, De'Laren Turner Yell didn't do anything, right? We didn't see him do a single thing.
No. Nope.
Well, when you run 4.47 at the NFL Combine,
see ya.
Yeah, I suppose you don't do anything. Like that time. Remember last time we were recording, he was running 4.47. Listen, I loved DTY as a player. I loved his aggressiveness. I loved how intelligent of a player he was. I did not know he was a 4.4 guy.
I didn't either.
I didn't know that.
Nope. He's 4.4.
And 10.2 broad as well. So like got explosiveness.
There's some guys, especially in the secondary, that are fast. But when they're fast, they're kind of I don't know how, like there's not much to them, right? There's not a lot of thump there. Like he's a heavy built dude that brings the dome whenever he comes down and hits people. Like he is a knockback tackler. So I was shocked to see that number, honestly. And I had never asked or inquired about what he may run and talked about like with the strength and conditioning staff, like what they expected. But for whatever reason, I thought like he's going to be like a 4.6 guy. And I have no reason to even think that. It's not like, and I wouldn't say that he plays slow. I don't know where I came up with that number. I mean, I guess obviously an idiot for thinking it because he's fast and the dude comes downhill.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons maybe we always were a big fan of like his anticipation, his ability to recognize formation, shift motions, anticipate what the offense was about to do. Like he was kind of the intellectual leader of that defense.
Well, look at what happened whenever he wasn't in there. Like they
Exactly.
fell apart.
Now it turns out like he was also pretty damn fast with that anticipation. So
Yeah, we probably credited it to him being in the right position and knowing what he was doing.
he's just a smart
But
player. He's a smart
there's
player.
way more to it than that.
Yeah. All right.
Congratulations
And
to him.
last
That's
couple
good.
guys, Laurent Stokes, big day for him. Now, I don't think Laurent Stokes is an NFL player, but came out, ran 4.9, had a 33.5-inch vert. Remember, there are all kinds of different pro leagues now popping up. You got the USFL back, you've got the XFL back with what the Rock is doing. So maybe you can catch on in one of those leagues. That would be sweet. Getting paid to play football for a living is fun. So maybe it works out for him.
Yeah, and the other thing is you never know who you may whose eye you may catch. Get into camp, man. If you can find your way into camp, you never know what's going to happen. You get out there in a couple of preseason games, get some time, get some film out there against other NFL talent, and maybe someone has a need somewhere. Maybe the team that you're on goes through a bout of injuries and you're able to make a roster. Or a practice squad. You just never know.
Yep. All right. Oh, and Burkich kicked. I mean, kickers kick. That's what they do.
Made most of them, missed a couple, but he was Burkich.
Yeah, he's Burkich. I'm sure the interviews were hilarious.
No shirt and gold chain, just like you would expect.
I wish he would have kicked with the no shirt. He weighed in with no shirt, which is a bold decision for a kicker, but not bad. I wish he would have kicked shirtless. That would have gotten my attention. Right? That would have been
frankly,
a little different.
I'm shocked that he didn't kick shirtless. And almost like you would think that he had like a cigarette hanging out of his mouth or something while he's kicking.
That would have added something to it. Like Nigel Gruff style from the Replacements.
This guy's got something. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Spring game date is set. We'll talk about it. But first, attention business owners. You need Insurica in your life. Insurica is one of the country's largest insurance brokers with 30 offices throughout Oklahoma, Texas, and the Southwest. Insurica is able to customize programs by accessing the latest information from many insurance carriers. They compare and contrast coverage offerings and pricing in order to design a cost-effective, comprehensive program to meet your business's specific needs. Insurica's clients become best-in-class businesses by working with Insurica's team of advisors to manage risk. Purchasing insurance is only one way to protect your business. Best-in-class businesses win by avoiding a loss in the first place. If your business partners with Insurica, you'll save huge amounts of money and take back control of your total cost of risk. I'm an Insurica client, and you should be too. If your business wants to be best in class, connect with Insurica at Insurica.com. That's INSURICA.com.
Guys, the weather is getting warmer. Well, no, not actually, but it will get warmer at some point.
We promise.
I think. But it's always hard seltzer season, and there's only one hard seltzer that we drink on this podcast, and that is Sonic Hard Seltzer from Coop Ale Works. It's perfect for any occasion. We drink it in the hot tub, by the fire, and at the tailgate. You can buy 12 packs of the iconic Sonic Drive-In flavors like cherry limeade and ocean water, or you can grab a citrus variety pack or a tropical variety pack. Find it at your local grocery, convenience, and liquor stores.
All right. OU announced the date for the spring game, April 23rd, which is a Saturday, at 3 p.m. Before we get into the Baker Mayfield statue dedication, what do we think of the kickoff time? Because I know ever since we had that one Friday night kickoff for the spring game a couple years ago, you've been hoping that it would come back. And Ted, 3 p.m. on a Saturday, man, I'm sorry.
Yeah, here's the thing. Personally, would it be best for me if we did it on a Friday night? Yes, but it's not best for the football team. It's not best for the program. It's not best for most people trying to get out there to watch it. So I'm totally fine with it. Hopefully we have good weather. You never know in the spring. Weather's always a critical factor whenever it comes to the spring game. I don't mind it. you can't get, it's a big day for recruiting. The spring game is, and you can't get as many high school kids out there on Friday. It's tough to do that. So Saturday makes sense. 3 o'clock kick is fine. You get time with the recruits early. You've got the Baker Mayfield stuff that's going to be going on early. I think it works. And I'll tell you right now, man, with all of the different things that have happened recently, the energy in the fan base is awesome. I expect a huge crowd. I really do.
70?
Yeah. Or more.
That's with everything that has happened over the last couple months and the fact that in the press release, I mean, it's not like Coach Venables didn't lay it out there in plain English. Like, he issued a challenge to the fan base in the press release. He said, my challenge to the fans is to fill up the stadium. As we say all the time inside our walls, best is the standard. Let's pack the palace. I don't know what else he could say other than that. Like, the man wants the place full.
He wants it full, and there's a reason he wants it full. It's not to sell a bunch of tickets, which is a nice byproduct. It is to show recruits that Oklahoma is the best environment in the country to play football. We see spring games across the SEC all the time that are packed. Tons of people out there to watch the spring game. That has an impact on recruits. It does. It really does. And that's what they're trying to create here. And yeah, we are trying to sell that we are the best program in the country, right? We can't say that if our spring game isn't an unbelievable atmosphere. If our words fall empty, if we're telling our recruits that are coming in, this is the best place in the country to play football. Oklahoma has one of the best fan bases, one of the most tradition-rich programs. This is where it is. And you show up and there's, 25,000 people there, and it's just a quiet atmosphere. And then you either go on a revisit or you turn on ESPN and see Alabama or Georgia or one of those places that have 100,000 people there on a spring game. And you say, well, is it really the best? That's what he's talking about whenever he's challenging the fan base. Get out there and create the environment that an elite level program would have.
If Lincoln Riley leaving and then Brent Venables getting hired wasn't enough to make the fan base fired up to show up, the fact that quite possibly the most loved OU player ever is getting a statue unveiled. Man, I don't know. Is it unreasonable of me to think that 80,000 people are going to show up? Because
new quarterback, like a new quarterback is always something that gets people out there. Like we got a new offense, new quarterback, some new guys,
new defense
spread throughout. Yeah.
And then Baker Mayfield getting his Heisman statue. And I think I read the press release correctly. The dedication of the statue will be immediately after the game. So if you want to see Baker's statue, you got to stick around.
Really? Okay.
That's smart. That's just smart business. You're going to sell some more concessions that way. I see what you're doing, OU football. Look at the big brain on you.
Well, and the other thing is, when you have it early, it is more difficult. I think it's easier to maybe convince people to stay than it is to show up way early for something,
Yeah. No, I hear you. I'm skeptical the stadium will be full, but if anyone can get the people to show up, it's Baker Mayfield, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just with how this fan base feels about him. All right, let's get on to call your shot. There was only one question we could ask. What pose, if it was up to you, what pose would Baker Mayfield be in his statue? On his statue for the statue. I don't know how to phrase that, but this one comes from Robert Reed, who says the Baker scamper when he runs like the first toddler to hit the beach.
When he's got his arms swinging.
He got his arms going.
Yeah, that's awesome. That was one of my favorite things about Baker Mayfield is it's entertaining to watch someone that loves what they're doing, right? And when you watched him play college football, there was no hiding the fact that the man loved what he was doing, and it was just awesome to watch.
Yeah. This one comes from @ChiliWater405, who says the best way to capsulize Baker for eternity has to be one of him hyping up the crowd or his teammates. That's epic, Baker. Can't do the flag plant or crotch grab. Too touchy for those with thin skin.
Yeah, probably too touchy, but I would really love the flag plant. That would be. I don't think that's what it's going to be, but that would make for like one of the coolest statues ever.
That would, yes, and it would cause absolute outrage. It'd cause more. First of all, it was clear when this got announced that a lot of people don't realize that if you win a Heisman, you get a statue at Oklahoma. A lot of people were clearly unaware of that, but the flag plant would be so good. Oh my God. How mad would the people at Ohio State be? It would be incredible.
It does bring up a sensitive subject to a lot of his professional teams fans in that area. There's a lot of Cleveland Browns fans that are.
Some of those people have turned on him already. So, I mean, who cares?
Right. But that moment was so awesome. So awesome. And it's everything that you want in a sport, frankly. The fact that, what was it, Herb Street and everyone lost their mind over it and he had to apologize. I thought that was ridiculous.
And this is probably the best one. It comes from Ben Thorpe on Twitter, who says the statue should be him wearing the gold cowboy hat and his sheriff mustache, planting a flag with one hand and grabbing his crotch with the other.
And a Fayetteville police officer in pursuit, right?
Just get all the big storylines for Baker all in one statue. Oh, that's awesome. Pretty good. All right, let's move on to our winners and losers of the week, but we can't do it until we do birthday shout outs. Ted, come on. What are we talking about?
Let's go.
Happy second birthday to Fielding Bosworth. Kinder, Kinder, Kinder.
Kinder, what a name. That is awesome. Happy 4th birthday to Jackson Everett Caldwell.
Happy 23rd birthday to Derek Williams.
Happy 29th birthday to Colin Fuller.
Happy 29th birthday to Mac Hayes.
Happy 31st birthday to Dr. Keith Boosty Johnson.
What a name. Happy 32nd birthday to Jayton Carey.
Happy 35th birthday to Christopher Johnson.
Happy 38th birthday to Dr. Eric Rouse.
Happy 38th birthday to Jacob Gutierrez.
Happy 39th birthday. Wait, is that the Jacob Gutierrez OU football Jacob Gutierrez?
The age matches up.
Huh. We'll get our research department on that.
What
we don't have a research department.
Stud.
Happy 39th birthday to Roger, a.k.a. Big Sherm.
Happy 57th birthday to Greg Potts.
Happy 90th birthday to Dr. Royce Hinkle and a couple of last-second additions. Happy 16th birthday to Larissa Grace Gunter. And happy 3rd birthday to Virginia Hicks. All right, awesome. Let's do winners and losers of the week. But first, Bishop McGinnis Catholic High School has a long tradition. You do this one now. You got it. My bad.
Bishop McGinnis Catholic High School has a long tradition of educational excellence with a 12-to-1 student-to-teacher ratio. No student is overlooked. Bishop McGinnis College Prep curriculum offers 22 AP courses. There are numerous clubs and organizations for students to join, and as a proud member of the OSSAA, there are 14 sports offered if you want to provide the best possible educational and spiritual development for your children. Contact Bishop McGinnis Catholic High School or visit bmchs.org. Financial aid is available, and they do have a Hall of Fame for former outstanding athletes like Gabe Ikard.
Thank you for mentioning that. If you're a whiskey or bourbon drinker, stop what you're doing. Head to your favorite liquor store and buy some Balcones products. You got to grab some of Balcones Lineage Single Malt Whiskey. It was just voted one of the top 20 whiskeys in the world by Whiskey Advocate, and you'll be shocked by how affordable it is. Also, you got to snag some of Balcones Baby Blue Corn Whiskey.
It's made from the blue corn. That's the fancy corn.
And that is why it has won more than 25 awards. Last but certainly not least, you got to buy some of Balcones Pot Still Bourbon. Its big flavors make it the perfect bourbon to drink year round. In 2012, Balcones Single Malt won the Best in Glass competition, beating brands like Johnny Walker and Macallan. It became the first American distillery ever to win the competition. This stuff is the real deal, people. If you love great whiskey and bourbon at a great price, then Balcones products are the only way to go. The whiskey may be made in Texas, but of course, the owners are from Oklahoma. To find a liquor store that has it, visit balconesdistilling.com. As always, Ted, kick us off. Who do you have as your winner of the week?
Well, the winner of the week is the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers is sticking around, and I know there seems to be a lot of talk out there about how could the Green Bay Packers pay what they're reportedly going to pay for a guy as old as Aaron Rodgers is, which I find to be totally ridiculous. The guy is still at the top of his game. Just so everyone knows, 37 touchdowns, just 4 interceptions last year.
That's good.
The Green Bay Packers are nowhere close to as good as they are without Aaron Rodgers. With Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, they've got a great shot at getting to the Super Bowl and perhaps winning the Super Bowl. And I know everyone wants to bring up, well, he hasn't been back and he hasn't won one. He's only got one. Fine. I understand that. See what they are without Aaron Rodgers. They're a shell of what they are right now. When you have a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, you do absolutely everything within your power to keep him. The Green Bay Packers are a winner. It doesn't matter what percentage of the salary cap it's going to cost them. You have to do everything you can to keep Aaron Rodgers. He makes literally every single player on your offense way better than they are without him. You have to keep the guy.
Yeah, and I think they tagged Davante Adams too, right? So now we'll see if they're able to work out a long-term agreement, but Rodgers knowing that he'll at least have Davante Adams. Now that's if Davante Adams is willing to go out there and play under the franchise tag, which, some guys that can be a difficult decision to make.
That's going to be a huge number for wide receiver this year, right? It's got to be.
I mean, he's going to be making good money, but I'm sure he's wanting that long-term security when it comes to that deal. I'm a little surprised you didn't go with the Washington Commanders for trading for Carson Wentz. Washington fans have to be so sad, man.
Which, okay, but that's the point. That's a great point that ties in. When you don't have a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, you're scrambling to do anything that you can to find someone that is adequate, that can help you win football games. There's 10 guys on the planet that are elite game changers in the NFL at quarterback. There's some guys that are really, 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 really good, but there's only a tiny, tiny, tiny handful of guys that are like Aaron Rodgers. And I would contend that there's no one like Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, and it was hilarious, right? Rappaport put the numbers out there, and Aaron Rodgers hit Twitter, was like, numbers aren't right. That's not true. I was just like, this is so awkward. But hey, he's staying in Green Bay. That's all that matters.
And I don't know what the numbers are going to be, but it sounds like maybe going to be a cap friendly deal. Here's the thing with Aaron Rodgers. I don't think that at this point in his career that this is a money grab, right? He could, if he would have gone onto the open market, he would have commanded an unbelievable amount of money. I think at this point, the more important thing for him is not going to be what does the contract look like, is getting to that second Super Bowl, right? Because once you get Super Bowl number 2, you're in a different group of characters.
Yep. All right. Who do you have as your loser of the week?
Defenses in the AFC West.
Whew.
Just
dang,
unbelievable. The 4 quarterbacks in the AFC West right now are ridiculous. And I know Derek Carr has some haters out there, but the guy still is a stat stuffer, and that offense has been pretty good, even though they went through a crazy year. But Mahomes, Carr, Herbert, and Russell Wilson now in the AFC West, no rest for the weary defensively in that division. That's going to be brutal.
That is brutal. What'd you think about what the Seahawks gave, or what the Seahawks got from the Broncos? What, 2 first-rounders, 2 second-rounders, a 5th-rounder, Shelby Harris, Noah Fant, Andrew Luck for Russell Wilson, and a 4th-rounder. Seems pretty fair. Like, if Russell Wilson plays like Russell Wilson a couple of years ago, then the Broncos are going to be more than happy giving up that draft capital. But he's got to get back to, like, MVP type level play. We'll see if he does, right? I know he had the finger last year, some weird dynamics going into that season, but I don't know, man. It's a lot to give up. But once again, it's similar to the Rodgers debate. Like, there's only a handful of those quarterbacks out there. You have a chance to get one.
And it's not an apples to apples situation, right? You're Seattle. Tons of rumors last year that he absolutely wanted out, right? He's done with Seattle. He wants to leave. He's done there. So you have to factor that in as an organization. Like, do we want to pay above and beyond for a guy that we really know isn't locked in and doesn't want to be here?
Right.
You kind of have to factor that in. And if you can get all of those things, I think Drew Lock is a capable quarterback. The situation there in Denver wasn't great for him. It's not like I expect him to go compete and try and win a Super Bowl there at Seattle, but all things considered, it all depends on what you make of those picks, right? Just like Russell Wilson was a 3rd-rounder for Seattle, if that would have been a 3rd-rounder that they got in a trade, you would have been saying whoever gave him that 3rd-rounder is an idiot, and that was a great win for Seattle. So time will tell what happens with those picks and who they get.
Yeah. All right. For my winner of the week, thought about going with our guy, Orlando Brown. Made 3 Pro Bowls in a row. He got franchise tagged and by the Chiefs. We'll see if they're able to come to a long-term deal at some point, but I believe that means he will make just south of $17 million to play
guaranteed money.
Guaranteed money under the franchise tag. So not a terrible day for our man Orlando Brown. By the way, we got to get him back here on the pod. It's been too long. Also, I thought about going with Kirk Herbstreit. Peter King put it out there. The reports are out there. Herbstreit's going to be Amazon's main analyst for Thursday Night Football, and also likely to stay on with ESPN/ABC for all the stuff he does in college. He's going to be making a lot of money. That's a big check coming Herbstreit's way.
He's probably going to be making close to $28 million or so, right? Or more?
Like total, like combined?
Total. Combined, yeah.
Yeah. I would say it's probably closer to like 15 total. Like, I think he makes 6 at ESPN.
Okay.
I think, like, I'm talking a year. I don't know how much Amazon's going to pay him.
Well, I thought it was going to be close to that 20 million mark that they had offered Aikman, right?
Is Herbstreit? Listen, it could be. Maybe even if he gets 15, right? Then he's making north of 20 million.
Yeah. Well, the problem is once that number gets out, and someone turns it down, it's like, okay, I know how much you're willing to pay.
Exactly.
Who's your next choice?
Maybe the better question is, who is Kirk Herbstreit's agent?
No doubt.
I'm sure you talk about a leverage position, but my winner of the week, the OKC Thunder's draft position. It's only going to get better because things have gotten bad. Team is 20-45, got 17 games left for the Thunder, and they're going to lose a lot of them because the team announced Lou Dort will miss the remainder of the season after having surgery to fix a torn labrum. Ty Jerome, surgery for a sports hernia. Mike Muscala had ankle surgery. So what that means, people, is we are going to continue to see some of the most brutal lineup combinations in the NBA on the floor for the Thunder. And that's going to lead to a lot of losses. And hopefully they end up with a really, really good draft pick. Hopefully the ping pong balls bounce their way, because even as great as Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is, and he's fantastic to watch, he's playing at an extremely high level since the All-Star break, we're still going to have to watch Poku. And no offense to the Oklahoma State fans, but we're going to get a lot of Lindy Waters, Vit Krejci, Olivier Sarr. We could see all those guys on the court at the same time. I've seen it already, Ted. It hurts my soul to watch, but big picture. Yeah,
It's like
Gabe, you
glorified
got to keep the
AAU
big
team.
picture. Big picture in mind. Oh, it's going to be sad.
Yep. Big picture. Yeah, we knew what this was going to be. We knew it was going to be an extended rebuild. So I wouldn't be shocked if you saw SGA come down with a
Tight
tweak
hammy.
or something, tight hammy, and miss some extended time down the stretch here.
Nice. All right, for my loser of the week, thought about going with Calvin Ridley.
Oof.
$1,500 on 3 parlays that end up costing him what, $11 million in salary?
Do we know if he even won? Like, what if he didn't even win any money on the $1,500 bets?
It was like a 3-leg, a 5-leg, and an 8-leg parlay. He lost them all.
Oh yeah,
You know he did.
Absolutely.
But Calvin, just have your buddy place the parlay bets, man. Don't just, I know a lot of people are, well, the NFL's got gambling sponsors. Listen, the rule's the rule. Just be smart. It seems awfully harsh, man, but hey, $1,500 to lose 11 million. Oh my gosh.
And just bet with your teammates on your college teams, right? You're going to win all of those, and you just bully everyone into betting against you, right?
Yeah, he went to Bama.
Yeah. All you do is just find the players that played on the team that you're playing that week and bully them into betting you. That's how you do it.
He would have made a couple $1,000s. There's no doubt.
The one thing I will say that I'm really interested in is I want to know exactly how they found out.
It got reported by the betting company. They had, like, he used his email. He did it from his phone. And there's a system that, like, the NFL's got a watchdog for all that, and they red flagged it and sent it to the league.
That is
not much
really,
of an investigation.
I know, but I don't know what the
legality of it.
Yeah, because that seems
very big brother.
Very big brother, and I don't know like what the like maybe there's something that you have to sign now.
I'm sure it's
since it's in the contract now that they have these connections that they can use that, but I don't know. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah. So also thought about going with Deion Sanders. Man, sounds like that was a scary situation, right? Like his whole leg was in jeopardy. But
remember, they thought originally that he may die. Right. This is way back whenever he first had the surgery.
Yeah. Wow. So ends up having his big toe and his second toe on his left foot amputated. And brutal. Is it bad that my initial thought was, I wonder now missing 2 toes, how fast he can still run a 40? Does that make me a bad person?
No,
I'd pay to see it.
Probably still pretty good.
Yeah. But my loser of the week, the Atlantic Sun Conference, or maybe it's the NCAA. I blame everyone involved. Bellarmine. Yes, everyone knows Bellarmine. They beat Jacksonville in the ASUN Conference Tournament final. They stormed the court, everything. Joy is being had by all involved, except they don't get to go to the NCAA tournament. Bellarmine is not eligible for the NCAA tournament because it's only in year 2 of a 4-year transition to Division I. So, according to ESPN, Bellarmine is the first men's basketball team in the past 25 seasons to win their conference tournament when they weren't eligible for postseason play. So I guess the ASUN didn't have to let them play in it, but they did, and they ended up winning. And the bid goes to the conference's regular season champ, Jacksonville State, who lost in the semis of the conference tournament. This violates everything that is sacred when it comes to college basketball in the month of March. I will not stand for it. It is ridiculous. All those people ran on the court. The players are going nuts. They get to go to the tournament. This is the rules. I don't care about this 4-year period. It doesn't matter.
Couple of questions. Did Bellarmine know when they stormed the court after the win that it didn't matter, they weren't going to the tournament?
They did.
Okay. Was Jacksonville State, would they have made the tournament anyways? Or did they need the automatic bid that they ended up getting?
Needed the auto bid.
That is awesome. Right?
If you're Jacksonville State, you're like, this is incredible.
Bellarmine, let's go. That's awesome.
Yeah. That if Jacksonville would have won, they would have gone, and Jacksonville State would have been out. So I'm sure they were massive Bellarmine, which, by the way, ends in M-I-N-E, but all the announcers call it Bellarmine. So I could be saying it completely wrong. I'm just repeating what I heard.
I like it. It's better that way.
Yeah. All right. Episode 196 in the books. We'll have a new podcast that'll drop Monday morning. South Carolina head coach Shane Beamer for nearly an hour. We already recorded it.
And it's awesome.
It is awesome. He's the man. Just a reminder, you can hear Teddy from 3 to 6 on 94.7 The Ref. You can hear me from 3 to 5 on Sirius XM Big 12 Radio, channel 375. Hope you all have a great rest of your week. Have a fantastic weekend. And until next time, we appreciate y'all for listening. Do what you always do, Oklahoma. Take care of each other.